Am I the a-hole for stealing my friend's wedding decorations? This story features Opie, who's 22-year-old female, and their friend Leah, who's 23, the bride-to-be, a would-be scammer who has as much scamming experience as I do defecating the bed due to food poisoning. Now, it's happened once or twice. I met Leah about 10 years ago at school. We were friends ever since. Spent a lot of time together, mostly in our friends group. Last year, she got engaged to her now fiancé Steve, who's 25, and started planning for their wedding right after. So, she asked me to help her with her decorations. We talked about different options, and I spent hours and hours to make her all those wishes of hers to come true. All of the things are handmade. Some days ago, our friend group and some of her other friends that helped with her wedding came together to talk about the upcoming wedding. As we started discussing our outfits, Leah started laughing, saying, "I don't need to worry about my dress, since I am not invited." I thought it was a joke, but later she came to my house and told me how I thought I was invited since I didn't get an invitation.
I'd like to thank my friend OP for her amazing decorations. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it to my wedding because I'm a grade A cunt.
I explained that because she said she is on a budget and I helped her crafting the invitations and the decorations for the whole wedding, I considered being invited, as all of our friends did that are in fact invited. She never told me I wasn't before, and that day was not the first time I talked about my dress because she is very specific on the dress code she wants. And now that everything was prepared and ready, she tells me I'm not going to be there at her wedding because, quote, she feels we are not as close as we used to be, and she doesn't feel like spending money on me because she has to pay her guests. Well, when I told my friend Sarah about everything we planned on getting the decorations that I made back. So, today we went to the location, took everything back, and told Leah nothing about it. The wedding is tomorrow. Now I kind of feel bad for doing this, but I am really hurt and upset by her behavior. Like, she doesn't want to pay for me to be in her wedding, but was okay with me spending 100+ hours for her. So, part of me feels guilty, but on the other side, I don't want to be treated like that. So, am I the a-hole? Now, before we jump on the bandwagon of course she's an a-hole, she's not inviting you to the wedding after all the effort you put into her, let's just remember that previous story we've read about that woman accusing her children of being a-holes and saying she wishes they were aborted, only for it to reveal that she was the a-hole this entire time. What if Opie here was actually told from the start that she was not invited due to budgetary issues? Is there any sort of situation where this could have been a legitimate reasoning? Though even that said, I feel the fact she was still talking about the dress code and all that kind of stuff in front of her friend who was helping with the decorations, like, even if you told her she wasn't invited, that's still a bit of an a-hole thing to do in front of her. Now, in case you question the validity of this, of just walking into a wedding venue and being able to take stuff without any of the staff for that function questioning it, well, she had helped place everything just hours before, so the staff from that place let her in and didn't even question why she was there. Fingers crossed that those people aren't going to get in trouble for this. And to answer some other questions, I'll definitely not be attending the wedding. I actually got all the bills from what I bought for the decorations because I wanted to keep track on how much I spent. I am now at my friend's place because I do think there is a possibility that Leah will show up at mine as soon as she finds out, and I don't know yet how I will move on regarding the decorations. Well, I guess it's time to set up a mini Etsy store. Boop, little update. So none of my friends knew I was not invited and are upset too. 3 of them tried to talk to Leah, and now she is angry with me for causing trouble the night before the wedding. Also, 2 of them, who are also bridesmaids, plan on not showing up. I don't know what to think about it. Leah still has no clue the decorations are gone. Well done, OP. You've essentially turned what was just keying someone's car into driving a plane into a building. So far, Leah is blowing up my phone because one of my friends told Steve, her fiancé, about what she did, and he is upset too, and told her to find a solution to get a seat for me. Well, Steve seems to be a nice guy, and I feel really sorry for him. I don't know him that well, but he was always kind to everyone. It's not just her wedding, but also his. But still, Sarah and I are the only ones to know that the decorations are gone. So Steve is a nice guy, isn't he? Clearly someone who's not willing to take Leah's schmidt and is respectfully requesting that, well, she stop being a bit of a bridezilla. But it turns out, as revealed later on, the OB isn't the only victim of this scamming of Leah's, as we find out in another little mini update. Boop, boop. Probably the last one for now, because I can't deal with this at the moment. Leah's friend wrote to me because I blocked Leah. As it seems, Steve and Leah got in a huge fight because of this whole issue. Also, Steve messaged me to apologize for Leah and offered to pay me since I don't want to attend the wedding and her behavior was trash. Plus, Leah did not just use me for free stuff, but also other people. A friend, originally invited as well, made some of her accessories, but got a call yesterday that she is not invited anymore, after she got everything from her. I just got to know about it an hour ago. At this point, I don't even know if anyone of her friends is showing up because everyone is so angry. We have a friend group chat and almost everyone has a story of Leah using us. So essentially, Leah is being as exposed as Schrodinger's cat in glass boxes. So a day later, we get an update on this whole drama. So here is the update you were waiting for after the original post is gone. Yesterday, Steve called me to ask in detail what happened, and we talked for a short while. Also, I told him the story about the accessories. He was shocked, to say the least, and the last thing he said was that he needs to think about everything. Today, yes, today's the wedding by the way, Leah checked on the location to find it empty and blows up my phone to call me names. She's insane, demanding me to refund her for the stress and drama I caused. Her whole family is after me. As far as I know, the wedding is cancelled as Steve was not showing up, checking on the location even if it was promised. But, well, the cancellation is not official yet, as there is still some time to the wedding. But Sarah and I are trying to find out at the moment. Opie continues in some further comments. At this point, all of our friends are not attending the wedding, in case it will still be celebrated. But the wedding is about to start in a little over an hour. I still don't know what will happen, and Leah wants me to compensate her for what I've done. She's saying I'm the a-hole and is trying to convince everyone to hate on me. She also wants to sue me. Hell yeah, Leah, you sue someone's charity. In another mini update, to get started somewhere, Leah's wedding was never really on a budget. Steve's family is kinda wealthy and paid for most of the expenses. She probably wanted to keep the money she saved for herself because she lied a lot about where she got all those things friends made from and how much she actually paid. Oh, and if you think that's the big revelation here, that, yeah, she was basically trying to pocket the money she was getting from her fiance's family, oh, it's worse. Oh, there's even more dirt on her. This time it's not OP dropping a bomb into the building, it's, Leah just setting a nuclear explosion onto her own location. Also, shortly before the wedding was about to start, one friend sent us a voice message recording in which Leah reveals she was planning on using us and how dumb we all are. She said that we are all poor students with debt, and she made the great move to marry into Steve's family, who will always help her with everything, including her expenses on uni stuff. Also, in actuality, some of us actually showed up and witnessed Leah throwing a tantrum. Oh, I hope you brought popcorn. As Leah was already at the location, Steve didn't show up on time, and some people received a text that everyone should take their presents back because he's not coming to marry her. I'll give more details later. And in more details, the wedding was cancelled. So Steve is a really nice person. We talked a lot and he asked me if I was interested in going on the honeymoon with a friend, as he doesn't want to go anymore. And yeah, I'm there now. Straight to some relevant reflection. So if I understand this right, Leah was basically stealing from her future husband. She got a bunch of friends to do handmade stuff for the wedding. She presumably pretended to pay for it and didn't invite any of them in the hope that this way it would not be revealed that it wasn't bought for. Yeah, it sounds like a special kind of dumb, honestly. Like, how did she think it wouldn't get out? Or was the hope here to just have it only get out after the marriage was over? Like, does this woman not comprehend the idea of divorces and the fact that this man clearly has the money to afford such a thing? Yes, sweetie, you did just recently find out I've completely scammed all of my friends and ditched them just for your purse. But hey, you can't do anything about it because we're married. What do you mean? What's a divorce? Our next story moves over to Am I the Devil again, but I theorize it's not fully as bad as people imply. The story being titled, Am I the a-hole for stopping by my daughter's house when she wouldn't respond to our calls? So I'm a 58-year-old male. My daughter, who's 24 female, moved out a month and a half ago. At first, she would call and text often, and us in return. As much as we were proud of her, We missed her terribly, so it was always great to hear her voice and catch up. Now, for the past 2 weeks or so, we have noticed she has been acting out of character. She takes a lot longer to respond to calls or texts. At first, it was nearly immediately, to now 30 minutes to a few hours later. Secondly, when we talk, sometimes she sounds disinterested. She has said she is tired from her job, which I understand and can relate to, as it is nighttime when we usually call, and we are also tired from driving the long commutes when we drop off or pick up our other kids from school or university several times a week. It is a marked difference from earlier contact, and of course, when she was at home, when she was usually more chipper. Though, my daughter is the type to get moody when she is overwhelmed, so this could be that as well. This continued on. My wife and I are not stupid. This eventually smacked of my daughter being up to something that she didn't want us to know about. Not necessarily something bad, but it was likely something was up. The other day, we were already in her apartment city doing other errands, and we thought we would swing by her apartment complex. I understand Reddit may balk at this point, but believe me when I say, 1, we never intended to go up to her apartment door, knock, or intrude in any way. We were simply driving by. Okay, that doesn't sound as bad. 2, we do not have a key to her place, so we never would have or could have entered without permission. Before we did, however, our son protested at our decision. We asked him how he felt about it, and he did say it felt a little weird. I disagreed and explained we are already in the area and we just want to make sure she is safe. Son, tell me your opinion. I'd like to get your input.
Well, I think it's a little...
I disagree. Your input is wrong. We visited and ultimately did not see anything, but I want to ask Reddit about my decision. Please know I am completely coming from the position of a loving father who wants to make sure his daughter is okay, and nothing more. So, if you can't tell from the post being removed, this was clearly a case of everyone thinking he's an a-hole. They say, your daughter is an adult and living on her own. It is normal for adult children to move on with their life and not have their parents as the center of their universe. Maybe your daughter is just busy and has other interests and people in her life beyond you and your wife. You are trying to justify going by her apartment. A simple call to see if it was okay to swing by would have been fine, but the "we need to make sure she's safe" is baloney. Your son is right. You need to cut the umbilical cord and find an interest beyond your kids. Now look, when it comes to the idea that we need to make sure she's safe is being baloney, I find that hard for us to justify considering the crime rate in regards to women's assault. And look, it probably doesn't help that I went down a rabbit hole recently about the whole Fritzl case and this horrifying man and this woman who was trapped by her family. Obviously that's based on the father being a monster and not a random dude, but come on, can't deny that women aren't exactly the safest people to be on their own in this society at the moment. It's why I feel like the fact all they did was a drive-by isn't exactly the worst thing they could have done, and I don't think it really makes them an a-hole. Of course, from a young adult's perspective, this is clearly a case of a young adult just trying to have a young adult life, and yeah, they don't find their life interesting enough to talk about to their parents right now every single day as much as the parents would like to think it is. But from a parent's perspective, whose daughter is now recently out of their lives extremely regularly, in a world they know isn't exactly the safest, I don't know, I feel like this is more of a case of no a-holes here, but, feel free to tell me wrong in the comments. If you want actual invasive parents though, this is the story for you. My roommates, as 21-year-olds, parents keep letting themselves into my apartment with the spare key my roommate gave them. Bit of background, my parents are family friends with my roommate's parents. I was never really friends with my roommate in high school, but got to know her from living with her in a dorm. Now recently, my parents got me an apartment to pay rent every month. So pretty much, the roommate's parents don't pay. Now over the past few months when we come home from class, we have walked in on 1. Her mum doing our laundry almost every week. 2. Her mum cooking food and cleaning for us. Okay, they don't sound like bad things. It sound pretty handy. You got a free maid in the place. 3. Her mum cleaning my freaking closet and calling me a slut for having tube tops and mini skirts, etc. Okay, yeah, never mind. 4. Her mum and dad chilling at the apartment Friday nights to make sure we don't party. I just can't deal anymore. I told my roommate to tell them to stop, but she said I'm overreacting. Am I overreacting? Like, should I tell my parents? I have lost my mind. Literally. Help. And now apparently it might not be as easy as just talking to her parents about it because her parents and their parents are close friends. Do you really think they're gonna take OP's side here when it comes to a case of their parents clearly just trying to be parents in the house?
Hey friends, can you stop, making sure our daughter is safe and taken care of? Because,
We don't like you doing that. We don't like you making sure our daughter's safe. Yeah, I doubt the OP is going to have much of a persuasive tongue. But onto a mini update. I took out Edit 1 to shorten the post. I told my older brother about what happened, emailed my building manager, and was able to get a response from him saying I can put a lock on my bedroom door. Me and my brother went to Home Depot and got a basic lock. Her mum is currently cooking in the kitchen and watching my brother fix the lock. She doesn't look too happy. I'll update you all again when I tell my parents. Now, in regards to the roommate not paying rent, it is because her parents hit a tough spot financially last winter, and my dad wanted to ease the burden on them a little. He said he would help out by giving my roommate a place to stay, so her parents could just worry about her tuition and not room or board. But clearly it sounds like they're using this situation to also have a place of their own to stay. So then, with all that said, what happens in the update? I came back from my morning run around 7 AM this morning, and roommate's mum and the roommate were in the kitchen making some coffee. She has never been there this early before. I decided to talk to them about everything prior to going to class. I started off with, "Hey, auntie, can we talk?" In brown culture, everyone is called aunt. And these are some points I listed. 1. I appreciate that she has been cooking and cleaning, but I want to do that on my own. I love to cook and felt that I was never allowed in my own kitchen. I also told her that I want to do my own laundry and clean my room myself. 2. I don't want her in my room. I reminded her that I talked to her about this when it first happened, and that's why I put the lock on the door. 3. I told her that if she wants to be with the roommate, to let roommate text me and let me know that she would be in the apartment. They expressed understanding, and I hugged it out with roommate's mom. And yeah, that's how the story ends. Just kidding, yeah, there's a lot more stuff that happens. Because come on, you really think this mother wouldn't feel like she's entitled to get away with everything she's been doing? So before going to class, I put a load of laundry. My friend is having a birthday dinner today, and I decided to wear this cute white dress with an open back. My mum even got me this dress since she thought it was so cute, and tossed it in the washer so it could be fresh for tonight. I asked roommate's mum multiple times if she was planning on doing laundry today, and she said no. I told her that I would be back around 1, and she can do laundry when I finish mine later this afternoon if needed. I didn't want her touching my clothes. She was okay with it, and said R didn't have any laundry today. Cool! I left, feeling really relieved, but I still locked my bedroom door. Well, I got back to my apartment about half an hour ago, and I couldn't find my white dress. As soon as I came home, my roommate looked nervous. My clothes were in the dryer, and I didn't do that for a fact. Roommate's mum states that I put them in the dryer and just forgot. I locked myself in my room, and I know she probably took the dress as it was something she wouldn't approve of. When I was in my room, I heard her talking to my roommate in our language. She told her daughter something along the lines of,
I don't know why she's freaking out about that dress. In India, escorts and prostitutes wear those kinds of clothing.
And she went on to tell R that I won't find a husband wearing stuff like this, cause that's why you go to uni, to find someone to cream pie you. I honestly think she wanted me to hear all that. Is she seriously just being a passive-aggressive bitch to me right now? Like, I'm trying so hard not to break down and cry. I'm heading over to my parents right now, and I'm telling them everything when they come back home tonight. I'll keep you posted. And updates us, she does. With some pretty dramatic titling here. I think roommate's mum is crazy and needs a mental health checkup. Seriously, I am very worried for her well-being. So my mum was home, along with my brother, my brother's girlfriend, and her parents. I told them everything that happened, and no one liked what they heard. My mum called my dad to tell him what happened. When my dad came home, he hugged me immediately and started crying. Me being called a prostitute and a slut was too much for him to handle. I've never seen Dad cry before, and it hurt me so bad. My mum called roommate's mum and dad and the roommate to come over to talk. They came over immediately. They probably knew something was up from the tone of my mum's voice. She was so close to growling. But Mum was being petty, though. When they came home, she didn't allow them inside. She made them stand on the doorstep the whole time, and I could tell this was ticking roommate's mum off. Some points of the confrontation. 1. Why are you calling my daughter these names? Roommate's mum.
I didn't say anything. She's making up lies.
2. Why are you even in the apartment that much? You told us that you go there once a month to check on the roommate. You also said she visits you every weekend? Roommate's mum.
The kids don't know how to cook, so I help. Also, kids are busy studying, so they need it.
3. Why is a 50-year-old man in my daughter's apartment? No answer. 4. Why are you going through my daughter's stuff? Why does she need a lock? Why are you limiting my daughter's times with her friends? No answer. I shall also mention that roommate's dad was sitting in their car on the driveway during this whole confrontation. Smart man, staying the hell away from it all. But things got heated up really quickly. My roommate's mom started insulting my parents. She said my mom is a bad mom because she never disciplined her children. What, by giving them a sense of self-respect? She said I am unruly and the clothes I wear are despicable. She brought up clothes like a smack ton. Like, this lady is really offended by my fashion sense. This annoyed my brother, and he showed roommates Instagram pictures of her own daughter wearing more revealing clothing than me and sitting on boys' laps. Roommate's mum shut her mouth about my clothes immediately. God, I understand the argument there, but you've just thrown this daughter under the bus. I feel like that is something that you should have checked with the roommate if she was comfortable with that being shown. I get being in the heat of the moment about it all still, but yeah, I don't know. Feels like a bit of an a-hole move on the brother's end. She then proceeded to try to insult my parents' professions by saying they have God complexes. This ticked my brother off to the brink, and he replied with, "You own 3 subways and are almost broke, but we never say anything about it." This pushed roommate's mother off the edge, and she leaned closer to my brother and attempted to slap him. This lady tried to slap my 24-year-old brother in front of my parents. They argued more, and my mum asked where the dress was again. This time, she walked away to their car and pulled my dress out of her purse. She came back to where we were standing and literally threw the dress in my face.
Well, crazy Karen roommate's mother, seeing you throw this dress in my daughter's face has made me realize I'm clearly in the wrong here, and you were right all this time.
My mum had no more patience left and slapped roommate's mum across her face. I've never seen my mum raise her hand on anyone, and I burst out laughing. Oh, that's... Even my dad had to walk back inside to keep himself from laughing in front of the roommate's mother. She started crying and said she was going to call the cops on us. When they left, we had a big discussion. My parents were angry that I never told them about this before.
Oh, come on!
They said that they got me that apartment so I could do what I wanted. They wanted me to be able to have friends over, to have a place to chill, and have a place without parental influence. However, they are very proud and happy with the way I dealt with the situation, and said calling the cops would unnecessarily escalate the situation that could be solved by talking. Thank you all for the advice. I appreciate it a lot. Now this is nice here. They were mad at my brother because they said he shouldn't have shown those pictures of roommate because now she has to deal with that trouble at home. Like, damn, these parents are amazing. My parents agreed that letting roommate live in my apartment without consulting me first was wrong on their part. My parents started the eviction process today. Anyways, it may be hard to believe, but I do stand up for myself a lot. It's just that in this situation, I didn't want to do anything that would offend my parents because I had respect for their friendship and I didn't want to ruin it or do something that would embarrass my parents. I learned from this, and I have growing up to do. But now that I know I have support, I won't worry about petty schmidt like this later. I would also like to say that even though I wasn't friends with the roommate in high school, living with her for 2 years did help me make a bond with her. I don't know if we can be friends after this, but it feels bad losing a friend. Also, if it isn't clear, my parents are liberal-ass Indians. They have lived here in America for over 40 years. They didn't want to spy on me at all. They don't mind me wearing skirts or tube tops or having guy friends over. Another edit, I took out the part where roommate tried to threaten me with a wooden spoon to shorten the post. It was funny though. And in a slight panic, they realized I forgot to ask for the key back, but turns out that the dad dropped it off in the morning, so... that's good. Some people not familiar with Indian culture are just insanely unaware of just how ridiculous some strict conservative parents in other cultures can be. One mentions how, I have an Indian friend who recently went back to visit family, and he was both horrified and disgusted with how his aunt was spoiling her son utterly rotten while punishing her daughter for every slight against her brother. Yeah, absolutely awful. I'm a professor and have many Indian friends, students, and colleagues. I've lost count of the amount of stories I could tell you about the smart women who get married off to useless entitled men like this and treated like absolute garbage by their mother-in-laws who presumably had the same thing done to them. I honestly think it's that circle of life situation where It's okay to beat your children because I was beaten when I was young and I turned out fine. No, this is not me definitely projecting the pain I dealt as a child onto another child so that, I can say, hey, you feel exactly how I felt. Doing this helps normalize it and doesn't make me feel even worse and more horrified about the fact I experienced such a thing. It's like school bullies who clearly have unhappy and miserable lives. By making someone else's life miserable, it makes them feel like it's normal, and it's not just them. They're not the only victim here. Mother.
What did you just say, my son? Your wife chose that? You're not a real man if you let a woman dictate to you.
You were always dictating to me, though.
Shush, your wife is not a real woman if she dresses like...
Oh, so she's not a woman, so she can dictate to me.
Shush!
With that said, we'll end things there. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you to the humans who share their amazing tales online. And once again to you for enjoying today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to support the channel or continue following for more crazy tales. In the meantime, you be good, love your face, drink some water, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.